Today's disclaimer, it is slightly precipitous. So you might see small droplets of rain on my glasses and on the lens camera. But we like to raw dog it on the Dav Williams channel. I haven't brought my cheap and tacky microphone with me because it's broken. So once again, a raw dogging on the traeth. Okay, 1st of the 5th, white rabbits and all that. A week to go before the Senedd elections. Wythnos I fynd cyn etholiadau'r Senedd. Wi'n mynd I wneud y fideo yma yn Saesneg, maddeuwch I mi. So I'm going to do this video in the language of the colonizer, and thinking I was today that I would cover a few topics, hoping that I will be riffing and not ranting. If I start ranting, then perhaps I'll knock it off and let you get on with your day. But I hope that I can do a bit of riffing here with a week to go before we have a change of token government in Wales. If polling is anything to go by, it looks to be a race between Plaid Cymru and Reform UK. Now, Plaid Cymru have been in existence for almost 100 years, where Reform UK have been in existence less than 10 years. And the pub bores on the internet are telling you that you need time for a change. Well, we certainly need time to change from the Labour administration in Cardiff Bay, who have been there since the Assembly first started in 1999. So a change will happen next Thursday, the 7th of May. And my prediction is that Plaid Cymru will do better than expected, and Reform UK will not do as well as expected. Reform UK in Wales are like the pub bore, and the pub bore has got his proxies. He can't go into the pub now because it's either closed down or it's too expensive. And a man called Gareth Beer is campaigning on that in Carmarthenshire, Llanelli. Fertile ground for the disaffected. I was in Llanelli earlier on this year, and there's a video, Llanelli'n Llwm, and you can watch it here on this channel. So they are on social media, and the pub bores proxies are telling everybody that Plaid Cymru are Labour's bedfellows and have been in government cozying up to the Labour Party for 27 years. So these new old kids on the block, these boomers, want you to vote for the old colonialist Nigel Farage with his Indian governor's hat and plume of turquoise feathers. They want you to vote for this colonial general and his proxy Dan Thomas. They overlooked Clear Powell, who was beaten in Caerphilly by-election, for this Dan Thomas, who was parachuted in from Barnet, because he's tall. A couple of inches shorter than Rhyn ap Iorwerth. They didn't want Llyr Powell to be standing on an orange box or jumping up and down behind the podium. The man who's 5'7.5". Short people. Right, where are we now? Oh yes, we are in the hysteria of BBC propaganda. Now, I have not had a TV licence since they got rid of Gary Lineker. Over a year and a bit ago, I put a tablecloth over the television, but I still, for my sins, I still turn Radio 4 on, Today programme, and I hear the pips at 6 a.m. and I shudder when I hear Emma Barnett or Anna Foster backed up by Justin Webb or Nick Robinson. I mean, the trusty duo are probably Amol Rajan and Nick Robinson, the lesser of 4 or 5 evils, but it's still Israeli state-sponsored propaganda. I mean, since the attacks on in Golders Green on the 2 Jewish gentlemen, one who's been released from hospital, Jacob Rees-Mogg held a vigil for them. Did he know that they hadn't passed away? But it is of no interest to the BBC, who ever since October the 7th have towed the line pumped out by Benjamin Netanyahu and his operatives, his Maccabee Tel Aviv hooligans in Westminster. You just cannot say anything about Zionism, the state of Israel, because they will conflate it with Jews and being Jewish and anti-Semitism. So stum we all have to be. We have to be gaslit by this media who are fawning over Donald Trump. He's a mafia boss, isn't he? I was trying to think who he reminded me of. And he is a classic prohibition character from the America in the 1930s. Sorry, there's a little drop of water under the camera lens. Yeah, he reminds me a bit of Jimmy Cagney, you know? Donald Trump, yeah. Jimmy Cagney. And, I mean, Trump has actually said that Al Capone is his hero, and he's refitting Alcatraz. He wants Alcatraz reopened. I mean, you do wonder whether he thinks has he had one of these dreams like Ebenezer Scrooge, where he woke up sweating in the middle of the night and realised that he would end up in a golden cell in Alcatraz. It's just so bizarre, isn't it? It's the golden ballroom, or it's the golden prison cell with dipshit Donny. I mean, the global population are being held captive by these sort of authoritarian tyrants. Well, basically it's Netanyahu and Trump who are calling the shots. Putin's all quiet on the eastern front, isn't he? Unless you're a Ukrainian soldier seeing the drones coming over. It's just this ticker-taping, incessant, unsettled energy. And all we can do is talk about it, get it out of our system, and perhaps try and cut through the fog or the fugue of lies, damn lies and statistics. Oh, another drop of water. I'll have to see how boring this is. How am I the pub bore? back to the pub board analogy. Reform UK and Plaid Cymru are in a pub that is either going to shut down or it's pretty ramshackle. But Plaid Cymru, the Werin Datus, are in the bar playing darts, you know, American Werewolf in London, Prenup Yorwerth on the dartboard, going for a double top. Dan Thomas, Nigel Farage walk in. There's no room for you here, lad. Go. And all the reform types are in the lounge with their Toby jugs and their British Bulldog pointer pedigree. They're like the old retainers, aren't they? They've come to Wales for a better life, and then they've swallowed this blanket 20 mph. They've been told about left, right. They've been told that the M4 needs a relief road. They're told that Reform UK will put Welsh people first. But what about the Plaid Cymru lot? I mean, they've been knocking about for over a century. They've had to play the long game. And then these old new kids on the block turn up, giving it large on Twitter, because Elon Musk has say, you can say what you like, lads, because I am a South African, and I don't agree with apartheid being removed. The whites are having a bad time. So I wonder what the relationship between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is at the moment. Is Elon Musk waiting his moment? Because he did warn us. And what is this about Donald Trump and the King of England? Great king, best king I've ever known. I'll be lifting the tariffs on Scotch whisky. This is the man who sent a Tomahawk missile that killed 153, 156 school children in Iran, and he's talking about lifting tariffs on Scotch whisky. I mean, you had to bring the King and the Queen consort in to move swiftly on from the second or third staged assassination attempt. I mean, we really are in a twilight zone where our reality and our mental health, the so-called neurotypicals, the so-called normies, I mean, I'll say you because I know I'm not neurotypical and I'm not normal, because perhaps we better come on to this attack in Golders Green. There is a national emergency in the United Kingdom, and that emergency is mental health. From Nottingham to Southport to Huntingdon to Golders Green, there is a mental health problem in the UK, and it's not being addressed. And when they happen, it is fodder for the far right, the ethno-nationalists, the Islamophobes, the racists. Every time a mental health triggered attack happens on the UK mainland, it is fodder for the vultures, for the carrion of the far right, who say, well, look at the skin colour, they're not British. British white people commit atrocious crimes, but it doesn't fit the agenda. So this attack on Wednesday in Golders Green was used by the Israeli lobby in Britain, by the rabbi in charge to politicise it. So it was an anti-Semitic attack, even though the assailant, the attacker, was in active psychosis, having been let out of the Maudsley Hospital. I know what it's like to be in active psychosis. I know what it's like to be in the locked ward of a mental hospital. As I was saying, I know what it's like to go to prison for my mental health. Now, I never stabbed anybody, I never attacked anybody, but I shouted at somebody in a bank. I used threatening language in the temple of the money lenders, and I got 4 months on remand in a prison in Amsterdam, the capital of liberal Europe. They couldn't see that I was in psychosis, and this is the medical professionals. They came to that conclusion after 4 months of examining me like a guinea pig or a traeth in a pot jam. But nobody is interested in the fact that this man in Golders Green has mental health problems. They are interested purely in the fact that he attacked 2 Jewish men. And this fits in with the burning of the ambulances, the synagogue attack in Manchester. This fits in with the agenda